What if I told you there was a man who marched on his own city, reshaped its government through sheer force, and then willingly gave up absolute power? Meet Lucius Cornelius Sulla, the Roman general and dictator who changed the course of history. His life was a mix of ambition, brutality, and reform, a paradox that left an indelible mark on the Roman Republic. Was Sulla a savior of Rome or the architect of its downfall? Stay tuned as we unravel the story of one of history's most controversial figures. Sulla began his life in humble circumstances, growing up in a modest home despite coming from a once powerful family. Determined to rise, he used his intelligence and charm to climb the political ladder, eventually gaining the respect of influential Romans. His military brilliance became clear during the Juguthine War, where his clever tactics and fearless leadership earned him fame. Later, during the Social War, he proved himself again by securing key victories for Rome. At the time, Rome was in chaos, torn apart by political corruption, power struggles between the Senate and the people, and rebellions across Italy. Sulla's ambition drove him to seize opportunities in this unstable environment, positioning himself as both a military hero and a powerful political force. Sulla's military career was full of victories that showed his skill as a commander. During the Juguthine War, he played a key role in capturing King Jugurtha of Numidia, which brought him his first taste of fame. Later, in the Social War, he led Roman armies to several important victories, proving his ability to lead in difficult situations. But his greatest military success came during the war against Mithridates VI of Pontus, a powerful king in the east. Sulla outmaneuvered larger armies, reclaimed key territories, and forced Mithridates to agree to peace on Rome's terms. These victories not only made Sulla one of Rome's greatest generals, but also gave him the confidence to challenge anyone who stood in his way, including his rivals in Rome. Sulla's triumphs against King Mithridates VI of Pontus showed his incredible military skill and determination. Mithridates was a powerful enemy who had taken over large parts of Asia Minor and ordered the massacre of tens of thousands of Romans living there. Sulla quickly acted, leading his army across the Aegean Sea and defeating Mithridates' forces in several key battles, including the Battle of Chaeronea and the Battle of Orchomenus. He recaptured important cities and forced Mithridates to negotiate peace, making the king surrender his conquered lands and pay a large tribute to Rome. These victories not only secured Rome's control in the east, but also cemented Sulla's reputation as one of the greatest generals of his time. Sulla's victories against Mithridates greatly increased his reputation and power. By defeating such a strong enemy, he proved himself as one of Rome's greatest generals. His success in battle made him a hero to the Roman people and a respected leader in the military. These triumphs also gave him the resources and support needed to build his political power. After returning to Rome, he used his military achievements to gain political influence, securing powerful positions within the Roman government. Sulla's growing power from his military success made him confident enough to challenge his rivals, setting the stage for his eventual march on Rome and rise to dictatorship. Sulla's rivalry with Gaius Marius over military commands was one of the main reasons for the chaos in Rome at the time. Both men wanted control over the army and political power. Marius, a popular general, had been given command in the war against Mithridates, but Sulla, who had more military experience, also wanted the job. This led to a fierce power struggle. When the Senate sided with Sulla, Marius and his supporters turned against him. The rivalry became so intense that Sulla made the bold decision to march his army on Rome in 88 BC, something no Roman general had ever done before. This move led to bloody battles within the city, and eventually Sulla took control of Rome, pushing Marius out of power. Sulla's march on Rome with his army was a shocking and unprecedented move that stunned the Roman Republic. In 88 BC, Sulla was given command of the army to fight Mithridates, but his political enemies, including Marius, tried to take the command away from him. Instead of backing down, Sulla did something no Roman general had ever done. He led his army into Rome itself. This was a huge betrayal of Roman tradition, as soldiers were not supposed to bring their armies into the city. The people of Rome were terrified as Sulla marched in with his troops, and he quickly took control, forcing his enemies to flee. This act of defiance marked the beginning of Sulla's rise to power and showed just how far he was willing to go to achieve his goals. After taking control of Rome, Sulla carried out the proscriptions, which were brutal purges of his political enemies. He made a list of people he wanted dead, including senators, generals, and anyone who opposed him. These people were marked for execution, and their property was seized. Sulla's soldiers hunted them down, and many were killed without trial. The proscriptions created fear and chaos in Rome, as anyone could be accused and put to death. This was Sulla's way of securing his power and removing anyone who could challenge him. Though it helped him stay in control, it also left a dark stain on his legacy. After becoming dictator, Sulla made reforms to strengthen the Senate and reduce the power of the tribunes, who were elected officials that represented the common people. Sulla believed the Senate should have more control over Rome's politics, so he increased the number of senators and gave them more authority in decision-making. At the same time, he took away some of the powers of the tribunes, such as their ability to propose laws or veto Senate decisions. Sulla thought this would help prevent any one person from gaining too much power and protect the Senate's authority. These reforms were meant to stabilize Rome, but they also made the government less responsive to the needs of the people. Sulla's actions set an important precedent by showing that military force could be used to seize political power. Before him, Rome had been governed by laws and traditions that kept the army separate from politics. But Sulla proved that a general could lead his army into Rome, overthrow the government, and take control of the republic. His march on Rome and his use of the army to enforce his will became a dangerous example for future leaders, showing that military strength could be used to gain political power. This idea would later be followed by other ambitious leaders, like Julius Caesar, who saw that using the army for personal gain was a way to achieve power in Rome. Sulla's reforms temporarily stabilized Rome by giving more power to the Senate and reducing the influence of the tribunes. This helped bring some order to the government after the chaos of his rise to power. The Senate became stronger, and for a while, it seemed like Rome was more controlled and less divided. However, in the long term, these reforms failed because they didn't address the underlying problems in Rome. The common people still felt powerless, and the Senate became more corrupt. Sulla's changes didn't stop future leaders from using the army to take control, and they didn't fix the republic's deep political issues. Over time, the republic became weaker, and eventually it collapsed, leading to the rise of the Roman Empire. Sulla's actions influenced later leaders like Julius Caesar and Augustus. By using his army to take control of Rome, Sulla showed that military power could be used to seize political power. Caesar followed this example when he marched into Rome in 49 BCE, and Augustus used similar tactics to secure his position as Rome's first emperor. Sulla's rise to power helped set the stage for the end of the Roman Republic and the beginning of the Roman Empire. Sulla was both a reformer and a destroyer of Rome's traditions. He strengthened the Senate and limited the power of tribunes, but his use of the army to seize power and the brutal proscriptions went against the Republic's laws. His actions brought short-term order but weakened the Republic and set dangerous precedents for the future. Did Sulla help save the Republic or lead to its downfall? Share your thoughts in the comments below. If you like learning about Sulla, make sure to like, subscribe, and watch our video on Julius Caesar to see how Sulla's actions influenced one of Rome's greatest generals.